There's nothing like it in sports. Maybe there never has been since the Roman Games. Race day at the Indianapolis 500. The first 500-mile race was staged here in 1911, but that wasn't the first race at the 2.5-mile oval. The honor is held by the National Championship balloon race 2 years earlier, followed by a motorcycle race and short auto races. The idea of a massive racetrack had been building in the imagination of Carl Fisher for years. Carl Fisher was a product of his optimistic times. Electricity, the telephone, the phonograph, motion pictures, all created a revolution in the speed and capability of communications, economies, and imaginations. On a parallel course, motorized contraptions of all kinds were taking us to new heights, and the heartland of the nation was in the middle of innovations. In Dayton, Ohio, the Wright brothers patiently worked out the mysteries of controlled and powered flight by building designs to test theories, then rebuilding and retesting. On July 4th, 1894, 9 years before the Wright brothers' flight on Kill Devil Hill, and 2 years before Henry Ford put together his first motorized carriage, Elwood Haynes of Kokomo, Indiana, tested his new automobile by driving it down Pumpkinville Pike and through the streets of downtown Kokomo. 60 miles south in Indianapolis, Carl Fisher was involved in the pluck and daring of the times. By 1908, he was an established Oldsmobile dealer, real estate developer, co-owner of Presto Light, which made carbide headlamps for automobiles, and an extraordinary entrepreneur and promoter. The man also loved racing. Fisher had raced bicycles, hot air balloons, and powerboats. In later years, he literally sold swampland in Florida as the primary developer of Miami Beach.
Carl Fisher, like many other people, could get ideas or dreams, and he was able to convince other people to follow him toward his dream.
The Speedway's original plan was a 3-mile rectangle with a twisting 2-mile course through the infield for special events. Fisher wanted the track completed for a 1909 race. P.T. Andrews, an engineer from New York, convinced the board to scale back their plans to make better use of the space. He proposed an oval of 2.5 miles, with each straightaway 5/8 of a mile in length, each turn 1/4 of a mile, and each short chute between turns 1/8 of a mile in length. The track was 50 feet wide on the straightaways and 60 feet on the turns, with a maximum turn bank of 9 degrees, 12 minutes. It would all fit neatly into a 1 mile by 1/2 mile piece of land and leave room for more grandstands. More importantly, the racetrack could be finished in time for races that year, and the investors could start getting a return on their money. Workers immediately began grading and building. In June of 1909, while construction was still in progress, the national balloon races were held at the Speedway. 3,500 paid to watch from the Speedway grounds, and 40,000 watched for free outside the gates. The track was ready in August. The surface was made of crushed gravel covered by tar. Several motorcycle races were held, but most riders left before the races began because of the dangerous surface conditions. The following Monday, on August 19th, the first auto races on the track proved the danger. One driver, 2 riding mechanics, and 2 spectators were killed. Several drivers suffered broken goggles and eye injuries from flying gravel and a disintegrating track. The final race had to be stopped early. The whole enterprise was in jeopardy without a better racing surface. The Speedway investors decided to pave the track with bricks, the most advanced surface of the day. Workers laid a brick track in 63 days, using more than 3.2 million paving bricks weighing 10 pounds each. It was laid with a precision that varied no more than 3/8 of an inch for every 12 feet. The new surface earned the track the lasting nickname of the Brickyard. The bricks were not fully paved over until 1961, and even today, a 3-foot strip of original bricks marks the start-finish line of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Beginning on May 27, 1910, a total of 42 automobile races were held on the new track during a 3-day period, with only one injury, a broken leg. In June, Wilbur and Orville Wright showed up for Aviation Week at the track, and one of their planes set a new altitude record of 4,384 feet. During that same week, a propeller-driven car raced an airplane for 2 laps, or 5 miles. The plane won, but only by 4 seconds. Additional races were held over July 4th and Labor Day weekends of that year, but it was too much of a good thing. The dwindling crowds convinced Fisher that the Speedway would make the most money by offering one spectacular race in 1911 at the impressive distance of 500 miles and with the largest purse in racing, $25,000. The racing world was awed by the enormity of the event, but some newspapers predicted blood and carnage. The track now had inside and outside retaining walls, which gave no room for mistakes. Carl Fisher was undaunted. He predicted, "We're going to have the biggest damn crowd anyone in the country has ever seen." The first Indianapolis 500 race was set, and the automotive world would never be the same.